Hey guys, if you have a 2015 to 2018 GMC Silverado, Chevy Tahoe, Yukon Denali, stay with me in this video. I'm going to show you guys how to upgrade the infotainment system from the old style to something a little cooler with this 14.4-inch touchscreen Android Tesla style screen, so that you guys can change the interior to something old to something a little better that's going to fit your needs in 2025. Let's get at it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, welcome, and to all my longtime subscribers, welcome back. Guys, today I'm in a 2016 Yukon Denali, and today I'm going to be upgrading the infotainment system from the old 8-inch style to this new 14.4-inch touchscreen Android. If you guys have an older style Chevy, GMC, Yukon, this will work for you and you'll be able to follow this tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you guys everything that this entails. I'm going to be going over the unboxing, all the features of the radio, and all the wires and the connections and where they go, and how you guys can do this yourself if you guys pick one of these things up. As usual, I'm going to leave timestamps below, so if you guys want to jump to a specific section of the video, feel free to do so. And stay tuned to the end, because I'm going to show you the initial setup and the boot up of this thing to make sure that it's functioning and it works well right outside the box. There are a couple things that are typical troubleshooting issues that may happen if you guys install it. I'm going to cover those. So if you guys are interested and you want to learn how to install one of these by yourself in your vehicle and all the features that they possess, stay with me in this video. We'll talk about it, we'll install it, and we'll get this thing up and running. All right, let's do a quick little unboxing. So here's what you get when you order this thing from Car. Inside the box, you're going to get the standard user manuals, and you'll get some installation manuals along with its warranty. Make sure you fill this out if you're interested in repairing or replacing anything. Fill it out as soon as you get it and send it back to them. Also, you'll get some troubleshooting manuals and another set of troubleshooting guides, including special wiring diagrams that you may need to follow if you run into any problems when you're installing it. Also included, obviously, is the radio itself. You're also going to get a bag with all the wires and a SIM card removal tool, along with any trim pieces that you may need to complete the installation. All right, the unboxing is pretty simple. Now let's look at what each piece does and how you're going to wire this thing up. So all the stuff that's included in your package should be something like this. I'm going to go through each one of the items, and then I'm going to flip the radio over and show you where each one of the connections are. First off, you're going to have your main wiring harness. I have the 8-inch OEM screen, so this is what my wiring harness is going to look like. If you have the 7-inch version or the 4-inch version, yours may look a little bit different, but this is the main wiring harness. Here, you're going to have your USB connections. This is going to be your LVDS connector that's going to talk to the OEM radio and make the communication between this one and your OEM. This is going to be your GPS antenna. This is your auxiliary connector, and this is going to be able to connect any auxiliary devices, including external audio. And if you have an external video player or something that you want to connect, this is what you're going to use to connect. This is going to be your reverse sensing wire. If you have an aftermarket reverse camera that you want to install, you're going to have to install this. This is what's going to sense whether it goes into reverse or not and trigger your radio to communicate with the camera. This is the 4G LTE connection. Your SIM card, if you get one, goes in here. It just slides out and you can insert your SIM card in here, but I'll talk to you guys more about that during the install video. If you don't know, these units have data, and you can use the onboard data to download your apps and Netflix, YouTube, whatever, but you need a 4G LTE connection. By the way, you can also tether to your smartphone and use that instead for your wireless connection. Here is your microphone if you want to install that. I'm not going to install it because on board on this unit, it has an onboard microphone that it uses from the radio itself. This is your 4G LTE antennas, and these are what receives the signal for this if you use the SIM card. Next, you're going to have an external speaker, which in my case, I'm not going to install, but you may want it. This will play the voice commands if you're using your factory radio and you're trying to use GPS at the same time. And this is the wire that is going to adapt this speaker to connect to your radio. Now let me flip over the radio to show you guys which wire goes where, so when you're doing the connection inside your vehicle, you'll have a better understanding of what wire to plug where. All right, so on the back of the radio, I'm going to walk you guys through where all the connections are, and let's start here. This is going to be your 4G antenna sockets, and this is where you're going to connect this wire. These are going to go here. If you notice, there's two of them. I only showed one here, but you actually have two. So these are going to go on the connections here. So the first slot on the left is where you're going to connect your 4G SIM card. The next one across here is where we're going to connect your auxiliary microphone, camera, and your auxiliary connector cable. That will go here. Next up, we're going to connect the aftermarket reverse camera. If you have an aftermarket reverse camera, this is the port that you're going to connect it. We're going to connect it here. The next slot here is where you're going to connect your main wiring harness. And this is going to go to your AC unit and to the main power supply for your radio. The next port is where you're going to make your connections for your USB cables. And the last slot here is where you're going to connect the adapter for the external speaker. This will plug in here, and the opposite end will go into your speaker here, and that's going to be to power the external speaker if you decide to install it. The next port here is your LVDS socket, and this is where you're going to connect your factory LVDS cable here. You may possibly need this cable here, but I'm going to talk to you guys about that once I'm doing the install. This is an adapter depending on the type of LVDS cable that you have from your factory. But either way, the connection is here. And last but not least, you're going to have your GPS antenna that's going to connect here, and this is this GPS antenna. All right, apart from that, that's where all the connections are. Now the only thing left to do is get inside the vehicle, tear down the dash, and get ready to put this thing in. All right, so now that you guys saw the unboxing and you guys know what you can expect when you pick up one of these units, let me talk to you guys quickly about the features and why you may want one of these things in your vehicle. So first off, of course, it's powered by Android 13, which means on this model, it comes with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. So is this something that you're going to need in your car? Well, if your answer to most of these questions are yes, then the answer is yes. So first of all, here's what this thing has. It has a 1200 by 1920 resolution, and it's got a touchscreen. It's got built-in wireless Android and Apple CarPlay. It's got built-in Wi-Fi. It supports the 360-degree camera, so if your vehicle has that, it also supports it. It's 100% plug and play, which means all you really need to do is disconnect your old wires and all the wires will remain the same. You don't have any splicing or anything like that to do. It's got built-in Bluetooth and built-in Wi-Fi, and it has the capability to take SIM cards, which means you can have internet wherever you go. It supports auxiliary inputs, and it supports steering wheel controls. So all your steering wheel controls are going to remain the same. Now listen, one of the biggest selling points for me on whenever I'm doing anything is ease of use, customer service, and how easy it is to install. This checks all the boxes. Now if you pick one of these up from our car, you can expect to get everything that we've detailed here and more. Now, if you guys want to pick up one of these things, again, please follow the links in the description so that you'll be able to get all of my discounts and pick one of these things up. Now, there are a couple things that you're going to lose if you pick one of these things up. Since you don't have a DVD player anymore, or you're going to lose your DVD player, you won't be able to pop in a DVD, which I don't know if anybody still has DVDs, but if you do, you're going to lose that. So you have to decide whether you're going to live with that or not. Apart from that, everything else works the same as if you had your radio from factory. However, you get the added functionality of having an Android tablet in your dashboard. I told you I'd keep it short and sweet, so now we're going to jump into the install video on tearing down the dashboard and running all the wires for our 4G antennas and our GPS and our USBs, as well as getting this thing installed. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into it. But before you start, the first thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and disconnect your negative terminal from your battery, and then you can go ahead and jump into the install. So the first thing we want to remove is a panel on the driver's side, and this just snaps off. It just has some cables here. We can take this off and set it to the side. The next thing you want to remove is the underneath covering for your dashboard here. Now there are two screws here and here that we need to remove so we can take this panel off. And then there's one more screw located here. Once you're done, we can go ahead and this thing should snap right off. And it comes down just like this. And you can just set it aside. Next, you're going to notice one screw located here. You're going to go ahead and remove that with a 7mm socket. Once you have that done, we can jump on to the next step. And now we can go ahead and remove this trim piece here. Again, it should just snap out, just like that. Now we can take off the other panel on the opposite side. It should just pop off like this. And now we're going to remove this trim piece here that's above your glove box. Again, it's just held in by clips. You just want to work your way around, releasing them. There's a lot of clips on this one, so you want to take your time, work your way around, and pop them out one by one. Once you have this, you set it aside. Since we're going to be running a lot of cables and our USB is going to be inside our glove compartment, we want access to the glove compartment. So you want to open your glove compartment. There's a clip on the glove compartment that holds the glove box in. You want to push from the inside and push it out like that to release it. It goes back in. Then you'll be able to squeeze the sides of your glove box, and the glove box should just fall all the way down. Now there are 3 screws, there are 5 screws actually behind the glove box that we need to remove this panel if we're going to be running our wires. So you got one here, and there's one down here. So we'll go ahead and remove those first. Once you got all the screws removed, you should be able to just take this piece out. And now you have full access behind your glove box to run any wires that you need. All right, now let's take the center console apart. Right. To remove the center console and the radio, the first thing you want to do is you want to open up your center console, and this entire piece right here snaps out. All you really need to do is get your pry bar underneath, and it should just release the clips. And all you want to do is pull up on it, and it should come right up. Now, if you notice, there are going to be some things that are connected. For our purposes, you don't have to disconnect these, but you can disconnect them if you want to set these out the way. They're just held in by clips. Now you can disconnect them if you want and set them to the side. To release this last clip, you're going to have this red tab right here. All you need to do is slide it to the side, and then you want to press down on the top, and then the last clip should come out. And then once everything is disconnected, you can take your center console and set it somewhere safe. Next, we want to take off the cap piece here on top of your radio, and this should just snap right off. And then you're going to notice 2 screws located on the left side and the right side of your radio. You want to go ahead and release those screws. And once you got those screws taken out, you can just go ahead and grab the radio firmly and pull it forward, and the front should snap right off. And then you're going to notice that you have 2 connections here. You want to disconnect the connectors, and then you just disconnect the last cable like this, and you can set the bezel for your radio to the side. So now the next thing we want to take off is we need to take off our vents, both on the left side and the right side of the radio. It's held in place by 3 bolts. There's one here, and there's one located here. Once we got all of the bolts out, the vent should just come right out. There's nothing else holding it in place, and then you can set it to the side. And then all you need to do, repeat the same process on the opposite side. The vent should just pop right out. Now the last hurdle to take the entire radio out, it's held in place by 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. All you need to do, loosen them up. Now we should just be able to pull the radio out completely. And now you just need to remove all the cables connected to your radio. There's one on the back here, it should come out. It's usually held in by these 2 pieces, so you might have to spread them apart to take it out. And then you can just remove this one. And last but not least, this cable here. And now our radio is free. We can go ahead and set this to the side. All right, now let's start by running the 4G antennas. And what I want to do is you want to start on one side here by the driver's side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the cable through here and run it behind here so that it can get down to the dash, to behind the dashboard. It comes with 3M sticky tape, so you just remove the tape. Find a location in your dash here. In my case, I'm going to try and put it right about here. Find a good surface for it to stick on. Now it's just a matter of running the cable underneath the dash and up to the radio. Once you have it run all the way, you can zip tie them to the wires back here, but I'm going to push this end up through the radio. But let's repeat the other process on the opposite side. Likewise, on the opposite side, I'm going to go ahead and find somewhere good for it to go. I'm going to put it right here, hold it in place just for it to adhere, and then I'm going to run the cabling through the hole here, and we can reach back behind our glove box and just fish that cable all the way through. Again, fishing it behind the glove box and pull it all the way up. Work our way back so we have access behind our radio. Now we're going to run our USB cables. I'm going to push it through the hole here and then see if I can make its way down to the glove box, and we can drop it down through this hole and pick it up in the glove box. Be careful when you're running these cables. You don't want to block the vent because the AC vent goes in here. So you want to make sure you run the cables behind the vent. So that's your USB cable run there. The next thing is going to be our cable for our 4G SIM card slot. Same way, we're going to follow the same route. Again, making sure we keep all our cables out the way. Once you have all your wires run, if you notice here, I have the 4G antenna run from this side of the radio, like I showed you, and we have the one coming from this side. Now the one coming from this side, all I did was fish it from the dash underneath, up behind the vent, through this hole to here. So we have this cable ready to go. And with that, now we're ready to make all the connections behind the radio. But before we do that, there's one bracket that needs to be mounted here that comes with your kit. It's going to go in like this and mount to the screw holes that where your radio was. The reason why you need that is the top part of the bracket that is going to replace the old trim that you had here. It also comes with a new trim piece that's going to go in and clip in here once we install our radio. All right, so let's go ahead, let's install this bracket, and then we can go ahead and start connecting our wires. Now that we have our bracket in, the last thing we want to do is I want to install our GPS antenna. Now you can run this behind the dash where we ran our 4G LTE cable onto the right side and just stick it somewhere up there, but I'm going to mount it on the underside of the dashboard here. It has double-sided sticky tape, so I'm just going to reach up, find a nice surface, and I'm going to hold it in place. And now we have the cable for our GPS. One thing you want to do is try and neaten up any cables. So I'm going to go ahead and zip tie these together so that the cables aren't bouncing around inside the dash. One thing to note is there's some clips on the back of your radio. You can see them here, these gold clips. You need to transfer 4 of them onto the new radio. They just pry off, and then you just swap them over and clip them onto the new head unit. And they should just snap right on. All right, and once you have the clips on, we're ready to go in the car and put it in. All right, so the first ones we're going to connect is the ones for our antenna. And they just screw on to the radio here. We got one, and then we got the other one. When you guys are making your connections, just make sure you take your time and make sure that the connections are nice and tight and neat before you start tucking things away. The next one we're going to connect is the connection for our 4G SIM card. We can go ahead and make our connection, and this should just push in until it snaps into place. Make sure you get a good snap and it locks in. You can do a little pull test to make sure that it's in tight. The next one to connect is our auxiliary cable, and this one has all the auxiliaries if you want to add rear cameras and rear DVDs if you want. This is what you're going to use here, and it should just, again, snap in till it locks in. This one here is for your aftermarket camera. If you have one, we don't have one, so I'm not going to put it in. And then we're going to put in our main power harness, which goes into the bottom one down here. Again, it should just snap in until it locks in. Once you got that one installed, the next up is going to be the plug for your USBs. And again, it just snaps in. Take your time, push it in till it clicks. And this one is for the external speaker and the mic that we have, but we don't need it, so I'm going to leave this blank as well. On this side, we have our GPS. You push it in till it clips in. And once that's in, the last one is going to be for your LVDS. The LVDS cable is the last one that we're going to connect. And on this model, they send with us an adapter cable here. And the reason for this is, I want you to notice, if you have 2 blue cables here, it means you need this cable. So some models come with just a single cable. If you only have a single cable, you would just plug this directly into your head unit. But in our case, we need the adapter. So we're going to go ahead and plug in the adapter. And then we can plug our LVDS cable directly into our head unit. And it should just snap in just like that. Now the last 2 connections that we have is going to go to your main wiring harness. You notice you're going to have a gray cable and a black cable. And the black cable is going to go to the power that came from your radio. Push it until it clips in. And then the last connection is going to be to the main wiring harness. It's going to be for your AC controls. And it should just snap in like that. And now we have all our connections made. The only thing left to do now is just put our head unit back in. Now we can slide in our vents. Now we just need to secure our vents. Once we have our vents in, we can go ahead and lift the radio and slide it into position, making sure all the cables are out of the way. Nothing is being pinched. And we just ease it back into position. Once you put the radio back in, I always recommend doing a test run first. So I'm going to reconnect the battery back to the negative terminal, and we're going to go ahead and press this thing and see if it boots up. All right, so right now everything is playing. We have audio coming out of our thing. The only other troubleshooting area that usually comes into play is our backup camera. So let me turn on the vehicle and check the backup camera. It goes into reverse and our backup camera is working. So it seems as though everything is working so far. All right, so now that we tested everything, we can go ahead and push our radio back in. It should just snap in, and then we can put the main bolts in for the radio. Once it's locked in, we're good to go. Now we can go ahead and snap on the panel for our start-stop button. Snap that back on, and then we can go ahead and put our center console back in. Center console should just slide right back into place. Once our center console is in, we can go ahead. Then we can snap in the piece that covers the underside. Put back in our screws. Put on the fuse box cover. And you can slide back the cover for your glove compartment. Through this hole is where the little wire that holds the cable. So you need to make sure we fish that through. And now we just need to move the glove compartment up, squeeze the tabs in, and we're good to go. Glove compartment is in. And the last portion is our trim piece that goes above our glove compartment. Just line it up and it should snap right in. And then we can put on the trim panel for our fuse box on the passenger side. Again, it just lines up in the holes and they just snap right in. And then the last piece to go in is just our trim piece on the top of our radio. It should just slide right over and it just snaps right in, giving you a nice clean finish all the way around. All right guys, welcome back. That wasn't too bad. So listen, if you guys have the older GMC models and you had a dashboard like mine and you wanted to go ahead and redo it, I definitely recommend it. The installation is a little bit more intensive than my F-150. If you guys haven't seen that video, I recommend go and check it out. The setup of the radio is in that video as well, and along with some of the issues that you may encounter. Now, once you have the radio installed, I do recommend the first thing is you want to go ahead and check that the rear camera works and that you're getting audio. Those are usually the two biggest issues that these radios have, and a lot of times it's just a little bit quirky for you to set it up, but once you get it, it will work fine. Now the responsiveness on this thing is great, and I'm going to jump to the radio here in a second. I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more. If you guys want to pick up one of these things, just remember it's not only for GMCs, Silverados, Sierras. They have them for almost every vehicle that you can think of. You got GMCs, Fords, Chevys, Porsche, Ferrari, Infiniti. Whatever you want, you can pick up one of these radios. BMW, they have them all. And if you use my link below, you'll have more of a discount available. So definitely check it out. Again, the company that provided this was a company called Alcar. And so far, they've been good. The customer service was pretty helpful. So if you guys are in the market for one of these Androids, definitely check the links below and you'll be able to pick up one of these things. So now I'm going to flip around to the radio so you guys can see the response time, and then I'll come back with a recap to cover everything. And also, if there's things that you think I may have missed or questions that you guys have, leave them in the description below. I'll try to answer them and try to help you. If you have issues with your radio, I'll try and help you guys troubleshoot them in the future if you guys need them. Also, I'm going to be coming out with future videos to see how this thing performs, and I'm going to show you guys how you can upgrade it from the factory interface to something a little bit different. I use Nova Launcher, but I'll show you guys how to do that. And if you're eager and you can't wait, check out my other video from my Ford F-150. It's I go over the Nova Launcher settings and how you guys can customize this thing however you want. All right, so now let me show you guys how the radio looks and what you need to do when you first get this thing started. All right, once you guys have your radio up and running, this is going to be the home interface. Now, typically in these GMCs, the first thing you want to do is check to see if you have audio. Up on top here, console is going to switch back to your factory. And this is what your factory interface is going to look like. Now, if you don't have any audio, the first thing you want to do is you want to go to your phone settings and you're going to hit connect to Bluetooth. When you hit connect to Bluetooth, there'll be a Bluetooth button up here. You hit Bluetooth and you're going to have a drop down menu and it's going to show the GT6 radio. You click on that and once it's connected, you should be connected to Bluetooth. Now, once you're connected to Bluetooth, you can go ahead, go back to your home menu, and then you can go back to your Bluetooth music. What I would recommend is, in the glove compartment I had installed here, what I would recommend is connect a USB device there with some music on it, load it into any one of the ports, and up on here it should be recognized. Once it's recognized, you should be able to go into your file manager and look for one of your tracks and play the tracks. Have it play with the native music app, right? Have it play and you can hear I have music. Once you have music, you're good to go. That's the first step. Now that will solve your Bluetooth issue and that you have music. The next thing you want to do is you want to connect your Apple CarPlay. Now CarPlay is connected through the interface up here. It's called Car Auto. Once you click on it, it's going to pair up with your Apple CarPlay and it's going to ask you to connect. And once you connect it, you'll be able to have your Apple CarPlay interface. It's going to look just like this. And as you can see, it's very responsive. It works perfectly. It's smooth, no delays, and you have all of your apps and stuff that are there. The next issue you may have is you may have an issue with your backup camera and your camera. If you do have an issue with your backup camera and the backup camera does not work, what you need to do is you need to go back to your home and you need to go to your settings. Once you go to your settings button, you're going to go to your system settings. Now on your system settings, you're going to scroll down to factory settings and it's going to ask you for a PIN code. You need to hit 7890. Okay, and it's going to unlock. When it unlocks, it's going to see the reversing video format. You need to make sure it's on VGA. There's a drop down menu. Sometimes it's on the CVBS, which is the wrong signal. Make sure it's on that. It should be good to go. That's going to solve most of your video problems. Once you do that, you hit save and it should go back and you should be good to go. And if that doesn't fix your rear view problems, then leave a comment below and maybe we can troubleshoot it together. But for the most part, that's pretty much it. Now, I'm not going to go over the full settings on this. I just wanted to check to make sure everything works. I can adjust my AC settings. You can see as I change it here, the AC moves up and down. It's all controlled touchscreen. I can change the front and the rear. The front controls are there, and I can adjust the fan speed on with the regular button, or I can use the touchscreen itself. You also have control over your climate, each individually. You can adjust the settings there, or you can adjust it with the control on your AC button that you have here. So this thing works pretty good. You have the whole interface here, as well as the touchscreen interface for your air controls down below. Since this is an Android screen, if you swipe up from the bottom, you'll get access to your apps and you'll be able to log into the Google Play Store, download whatever apps you want on your screen. Right now it has Disney Plus, Netflix, Spotify, Sirius, Google Maps, weather, and you guys can download whatever you want, TikTok, whatever. Also, if you swipe down from the top, you'll get your standard settings, internet if you want to connect your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, connect to hotspots, and obviously go back to your system settings, which is going to take you to your settings for your factory radio. Apart from that, that's pretty much it. Again, I'll go over in a later video customizing this thing, but for now, I just wanted to show you the install and that this thing runs pretty smoothly. The great things about this Android systems for your car is that they fully integrate and you retain all of your factory settings. So if you go back to console, which will take you to your original factory radio, you can see here it's going to look exactly like your factory radio did before, and you'll have access to your media buttons, your radio buttons, your home button to access all your original apps, and it should function just like you did when you had your original factory radio. Again, it will give you the touchscreen air controls on here as well, but you'll also have the touchscreen with the button down below as well. All right, apart from that, let me talk to you guys a little bit about something else. I'll recap the video and then I'm out of here. All right guys, that wasn't too bad. Once again, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was the install on my 2016 Yukon Denali. If you guys have one of these vehicles that year, then this video will help you guys installing this thing. It was pretty quick. Just need to take your time, remove some trim pieces on your dash, and you're good to go. Now listen, this company Car has these screens for this car, and it has it for pretty much any car that you want. So if you guys are interested, check out the links in the description. You'll get if you use my affiliate link, you'll be able to get an additional discount. Now listen, I hope you guys found this helpful, and if you don't mind, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more DIY videos like this one, and for all things DIY that I do around my house. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and if there are any questions that you may have, leave them in the comments below, or any troubleshooting that you may want me to go over. I'll talk about it and I'll definitely respond to you guys. As always, I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this. Hope it helped, and until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next video.